Hey all, welcome to our Foundations of Education class. Before we get started, I should briefly tell you about myself so that you know who your instructor is. My name is Dana Ulveland. My first name is Randall, but I go by Dana. If you're wondering how to address me in your emails, you could refer to me as Dr. Ulveland, or Professor Ulveland, or Dr. Dana, or Dana. That's all fine. So here we are at WOU, a very nice rural setting as far as I'm concerned. I grew up in a small rural town in central Alberta. Most of my recollections of childhood revolve around playing outside in the fields and forests or down by the Blind Man River. I have lots of great school memories and many not so great memories. The good memories usually have to do with playing music or in a variety of bands. Most of the not so good memories were in middle and high school. Though in high school, I did meet my wife, whom I am married to now. That was a good memory. Anyway, let's see. As far as jobs, before I started university, I was a heavy equipment operator on a road crew, worked on the rigs in the oil patch in northern Alberta, worked in a gas plant, did some carpentry along the way. I guess it was working in 30 below weather on the rigs that I thought university might be a better sort of life. So, you're working on your degree here at WOU. This is a great university. I did my undergraduate work at the University of Alberta, majoring in philosophy and English. Then after studying French in Paris for a semester, I returned to the same university to get my degree in education. I taught elementary and junior high for 5 years. I did my graduate work at the University of Oregon. You know where that is, of course. And I completed my doctoral work at Simon Fraser University in British Columbia. Some of my students in the past competed in sporting events at SFU, so you might know where that is. As for my research was in and continues to be in the philosophy of education, language, technology, and media. My initial interest in technology and media developed while using music technologies, MIDI synthesizers and sequencers, personally and as a musician, and then in the classroom. Back when I was in high school, I turned my parents' basement into a recording studio. It began as a fairly modest endeavor. That was before the advent of digital recording equipment. I had an 8-track reel-to-reel tape recorder, soundboard, mics, effects, etc. At the time, all of this seemed very exciting. Of course, as is often the case, like any other musician, I wanted to be able to replicate what the big recording studios were doing. And it was difficult to replicate what major studios were doing because they had the money to bring in any type of musician to play any type of instrument. Plus, the major recording studios had some pretty impressive sounding synthesizers and sound samplers, all in about the $50,000 range, which in today's money would be closer to $100,000. Anything I could afford was pretty limited in comparison. But as you know, computer-based equipment started to take off. Synthesizers started to become affordable. The personal computer was marketed as something everyone could afford. And before long, it was easy to be sitting with a 64-track digital recording outfit. Anyway, enough reminiscing. Suffice it to say that I became interested in computer technologies through music. While teaching in the public school system, I was the computer coordinator of the school, and I developed one of the first electronic music labs for student composition and performance in the province of Alberta. After teaching for 5 years and completing a master's in computers and ed at the University of Oregon, I began my doctoral research at Simon Fraser University. My area of study focused on the ontology of technology and the human educational implications that emerge through phenomenological analysis and existential examination. That's a mouthful, isn't it? What that means is that I like to come to understand how people experience the world and how schooling and education plays into that. Eventually, I moved to Alabama, where I taught at Auburn University in Montgomery for 3 years. Finally, I moved to Oregon and I've been teaching here at WOU for 22 years. As for my hobbies, well, I'm a pilot, a downhill skier, a scuba diver, and a musician of sorts. I'm always trying to learn new things, and right now I'm trying to learn Chinese, and I continue to try to learn Spanish. More importantly, I'm a husband to my high school sweetheart and a father to 2 girls who are also in university. So now that you know that I have 2 children, probably about your age, you'll know that when I start giving you fatherly advice like getting enough sleep or eating well or trying to do your best in university or not getting too stressed about anything, you will know that the father side of me that comes out from caring for my own children is coming out and being directed at you. Well, I also care about your well-being and success. I'm glad you're here. Welcome to the course.